Well, the Netflix movie Day Shift combines a combination of humor, action, and remixed vampire lore to try and create something unique. Is the result something that works for me? Stick around and I'll share my thoughts. I'm Peter Franson from christiangeekcentral.com and Spirit Blade Productions. This is my uncut review of Day Shift from Netflix. The synopsis on IMDb reads, a hardworking blue-collar dad who just wants to provide a good life for his quick-witted 8-year-old daughter. His mundane San Fernando Valley pool cleaning job is a front for his real source of income, hunting and killing vampires. All right, so what's the basic tone and vibe of this thing? I would say it's definitely more comedy than action. The action is more than recurring. It's frequent throughout the movie, but they lean into the comedy, I think, more. And to the point where it's at the expense of horror, at the expense of suspense, or drama. It's plenty gory, but it's never scary to me because it doesn't truly try to build suspense or a sense of risk for the characters. Drama is also neglected in favor of comedy. The fact that this character, the main character played by Jamie Foxx, lives in the aftermath of a divorce is treated lightly for the most part. Now, admittedly, I just learned this morning that someone that I care about is filing for divorce. So treating that topic lightly had even less chance of sitting well with me. But nevertheless, even I think in other circumstances, the whole movie just would have felt too light compared to some of the dramatic elements of the plot, like the divorce and the broken family, and then all the the vampire horror stuff is really played for comedy. That works for a lot of people, certainly. Zombie movies and even vampire movies of the past are played for comedy. It's just typically not my thing. On top of that, in one chase scene, the main character's daughter is completely unfazed by circumstances that would have any kid or most any adult screaming and crying in terror. Instead, she is actually smiling and having fun. So that should give you a clear sense of the tone of this movie in general. Dialogue also a number of times feels very expositional to me. It's delivered in ways that are intended to make sense in the context, such as a monologuing villain or a new partner kind of quizzing the other on the basics of the vampire hunting profession just to make sure that they're ready for what they're about to go and do and stuff. But it's still, it just came off to me still as this loud exposition rather than natural dialogue or interactions. The main characters also felt a bit tropey and stereotypical to me. You've got the rogue agent played by Jamie Foxx who's too cool for school, and you've got his contrasting, nerdy, by-the-book, overly straight arrow partner. You've also got the calmly dangerous, mustache-twirling, monologuing villain with grand plans for dominance. And so these are all character types that we've seen many, many times before in other movies. Humor is also well, I was going to say a tiny bit too ridiculous in the first half, but it really, I think, just kind of even goes to the point of, yes, this is definitely just too ridiculous for me and not especially surprising. For me, I think maybe it all just kind of hits one level instead of having spikes of being extreme and more subtle and stuff. So it just kind of, I just became numb to it really quick. As far as the cast goes, Jamie Foxx, I feel like, is solid, but seemingly not bringing much to his character that isn't on the page, I would assume. And so it's not especially an interesting performance, just solid. Dave Franco seems like good casting for the straight arrow nerdy partner. I just wish the script was a little bit more subtle with the humor that comes from his character. Snoop Dogg also has a prominent supporting role, but as you might suspect, feels just a little more wooden and out of place compared to the other actors. That said, if the novelty of the rapper being in this movie playing this part works for you, then it's going to work for you. As far as stunts and visuals go, the CG I would describe as being of a better quality than comedies usually have, but not the same quality as a movie that's truly selling itself on its action. So somewhere in between there. There are some cool gimmicks now and then in the action, like contorting vampires. That idea is used more than once, and they are clearly getting some contortionists in there as stunt actors to do those parts, and it gives kind of a little bit of a unique flavor to it. And there are shocking instances throughout the movie of wire work involving yanking bodies around as they're yanked back by the explosive force of a gun or some kind of attack or something like that. So it gives the action in this movie a speedy, kinetic vibe that I did like. I think that if you want some fast, gory vampire violence that is exclusively funny, or at least not scary, or intense, then I think you're likely to find the action enjoyable here. As far as themes, is there anything of moral, philosophical, or spiritual significance going on in the themes of this thing that might trigger some worthwhile thought or conversation? There's lots of light tone, tropey qualities to the movie that I think keep several potential themes from standing out to me. Themes such as learning to get along with and appreciate people who are different from you, honesty in relationships, dedication to your family. All these ideas are present, but they take a far back seat to the comedy. Now, I have no idea what your tastes are in movies, but if I were a time traveler, I'd go back in time and say, Spader, yeah, skip this one. It's not your kind of humor, and the pervasiveness of that humor deflates any potential intensity from the drama or action. This one is rated R for strong violence and gore and language. And those are all my thoughts for now on Day Shift. Right now, I'd like to take some time to write a tune for pre-made rhyme. The lyrics kind of never change, but the melody gets rearranged. I never know what I'll create to say how much I appreciate Dan Excel, Josh Reading, Gabriel Stinson, Brian Franklin, Olin D, Branham, Drew Rubb, Winston Crutchfield, Lee Bray, Justin D. Myers, Matthew Ridgway, Cosmic Fox, and Joel Nelson. Thank you for supporting me, and SPP and CGC. And now to all who hear this tune, thank you as well. Please come back soon. Want to hear your name in song? Check out our page on Patreon. All right, once a month, I always got to figure out how I'm going to do that. Would love to get your thoughts and reactions, as always, in the comments below. Please like, share, subscribe, click that bell to stay connected. I do want to thank the Spirit Blade Insiders for making this review possible. You can get info about the benefits of joining over at patreon.com/spiritbladeproductions. Then, I hope you'll check out our podcast and stay connected to all CGC content over at christiangeekcentral.com as we continue to geek out and seek the truth. Coming August 15th through 18th, Monday through Thursday, is my second annual solo Tabletop Dungeonfest series of live streams. From 8:30 to 11:30 a.m. Pacific on each day, I will be taking a group of adventurers into the dungeon depths of 2 tabletop games, including my heavily modified version of Hero Quest, the classic Milton Bradley board game that inspired decades of clones after it, and 4 Against Darkness, the indie sensation that recaptures the feel of classic paper and pencil dungeon crawls of the 80s. You can find the streaming schedule below, and I would love for you to join me.